Hello there, welcome to Track 2 of Startups Discipleship. This is our practical teaching round for Startups Plus, where we're talking about soft skills. And we're going to be talking about soft skills all track long. If you're not aware, there are two different types of skills. There are hard skills, which are specific, teachable, measurable abilities like writing or reading or math or even computer programs. And by contrast, soft skills are more like traits. They're more abstract concepts. Things like etiquette or listening. And while many hard skills are very specific based on the type of work you're doing, soft skills are applicable across the board. Soft skills will help you in any line of work. And so this whole track, we're going to be going over some soft skills that we find that are applicable to everyday life. These soft skills, if mastered, will not only make you a better person day to day, they'll make you a better worker, a better employee, and a better leader of your startup. So the first one we're going to talk about is time management. Time management. Now, time as a concept is really kind of abstract. It's a little ethereal. Time is defined as the point or period at which things occur. And there are two different types of time. There is clock time and there is real time. Clock time and real time. Clock time is the great equalizer. Every single human being gets 60 seconds per minute, gets 60 minutes per hour, and gets 24 hours in a day. It doesn't matter whether you're rich or you're poor. It doesn't matter what gender, what race, or what ethnicity, what cultural background you have, or what socioeconomic background you have. It doesn't matter if you grew up privileged or you had nothing. Every single human being on this planet gets the same amount of time every day. It is the equalizing resource. And this is good news, because oftentimes we say, well, they had more money to start with, or well, they had a better education to go on. We love to make excuses as to why other people are farther along in life than we are. But when it comes to time, everybody gets the same amount. But I'm sure you've recognized that some people use time better than others. Some people use their time to produce great works of art, while other people use their time to sit around and play video games or watch television. Did you know that the average American watches over 5 hours of television every single day? 5 hours of television every single day. And by the way, that means for every American like me who watches less than an hour, there are people watching 10 hours of television every single day. People love to waste their time. It's the equivalent of giving every American $1 million to spend. Somebody goes out and buys a house and starts a business and invests their money, while the other person runs over to 7-Eleven and buys $1 million worth of Slurpees. My point is that there are so many resources that are disproportionately given in life. Money, education, standing, privilege. But time is the great equalizer. Every single human being gets 60 seconds per minute, 60 minutes per hour, and 24 hours in the day. The people who are successful are spending that resource of time wisely, and the people who aren't are throwing it away. One of the issues is that time is relative. From Einstein's theory of relativity, we know that things like gravity and velocity affect the way that time happens to different individuals. Now, there's all sorts of theories and experiments out there that, if you were to take a human being and put them on a planet with greater gravity, they would experience time at a different rate than somebody on Earth. Or if you were to send somebody out into space traveling at the speed of light, the amount of time that would pass for them would be different than the amount of time that passed for people who were still here on Earth. And what's nice about those examples is that they're a very real way to see that time is relative in extreme circumstances, but frankly, they're completely irrelevant for you and I living our day-to-day lives here on Earth right now. Because I don't know about you, but I don't plan on going and living on some distant planet that has, heavier gravity. And I don't plan on traveling through space at the speed of light. So while those are extreme cases, I want to know how time being relative affects me on a day-to-day basis. Let me give you an example that might be a little more applicable. Have you ever taken a road trip across the country where you're driving at 65, 70 miles an hour for 12 hours a day? If you've ever done that, it often feels like, man, I can't believe 12 hours just flew by. However, if you spend 1 hour in gridlock traffic on the 405 freeway up by Los Angeles, you'll know that 1 hour can feel like an eternity. 12 hours driving in a car versus 1 hour sitting in traffic feel dramatically different. That's because time is relative. And the speed at which you're moving affects the relativity of your time. Another example would be when you were a child, Christmas break felt like an eternity. 2 weeks off felt like Christmas was never going to come. When you become an adult, it feels like the holidays are here and gone. Why? Because time is relative. And unfortunately, most time management is based on clock time. How do I best use those 60 seconds per minute, those 60 minutes per hour? That's clock time. But if you remember, we talked about clock time and real time. And real time is mental. So you can create it, you can manage it, and you can spend it as you will. Your time can be composed of 3 things. It can be composed of thinking, it can be composed of conversation, and it can be composed of actions. You can think, you can have conversations, or you can act. And here's my secret. If real time is mental, if it's something that you can create and manage and spend as you will, and if time is relative, based on movement speed, then consider this. Spending your real time doing thinking slows down your relative time. Because often when you're thinking, you're simply sitting quietly and not moving. Things like conversation are often neutral. And taking actions is often speeding up your relative time because movement is happening. Now, I know this is weird and it seems kind of kooky and abstract, but let me give you a very real example that I experienced for multiple years on end. For the better part of my adulthood, I would get up in the morning and spend quiet time with the Lord, praying and reading the Word. I would sit quietly and plan out my day, and it usually felt like there was enough time in my day to get everything that I needed to done. But then I decided to go to the gym, and I worked out every morning. That workout was at 7 a.m. That meant I had to get up at 6 and immediately hop on my bicycle and ride 5.5 miles to the gym and then work out for an hour. And what I found was that my days would start to get away from me because I was starting my days with fast movements. I was on a bicycle and then I was working out at the gym, and all of that movement seemed to speed up my day, and it felt like I had no time to get anything accomplished. And so what I started to do was take an hour after the workout and sit in our sanctuary, peacefully and quietly, slowing down my relative clock. And by taking an hour to slow down my time, it now feels like I have more time in the day to get everything done. If it's true that time is relative, then I want to find ways to take advantage of that time and use it better than everybody else. I can organize that time, I can prioritize that time, I can schedule that time, but I am ultimately trying to slow my time down so that I have more resources in real time than everybody else has in clock time. So let me give you 10 quick tips, and I'm just going to read these quickly, that'll help you manage your time better. Number 1, record your week. See what you do. See how you're spending your day. Check how many hours you're actually watching television each day. And be truthful and honest. Do this for a week straight. Just record how many hours you're doing each activity throughout your day. Oftentimes, we just go about our days completely unaware of how we're spending our resource of time. This recording of your week will bring awareness. Number 2, schedule times that are important, even if you don't think they are. The gym is the perfect example of this for me. I am not a health nut. I'm not a fitness guy. I'm not a gym rat. But I know that my health is actually important. And so I have to schedule times to go to the gym, even though it doesn't feel important to me. Number 3, 50% of your work time should be in things that actually produce results. Our brains are wired in such a way that when we actually produce results, when we finish a project, it feels so good. It releases all these great hormones into our system, and we end up being more productive because we love the feeling of it. So spend 50% of your time, of your work time, doing things that actually produce results. Number 4, schedule interruptions. Throughout your day, periodically put spaces in there where you can have extra time just in case. You never know what's going to happen. Traffic might be worse than you expect. Plan to get places earlier in case there's interruptions. Allow for abrupt meetings or people stopping in or people needing help or support or a note from you. Especially as a leader, you're going to be interrupted constantly. And those interruptions are not a nuisance. Those interruptions are connection points between you and your team. So schedule them. Number 5, spend the first 30 minutes of your day planning your day. Be intentional. And you're going to hear this from me over and over in Startups Plus. Intentionality is everything. So spend the first 30 minutes of your day planning your day. Number 6, 5 minutes before you have a planned conversation, think through what you're going to say. 5 minutes before every conversation, plan out what you're going to say. Again, it's intentionality. This significantly reduces bunny trails and tangents and getting sidetracked. So plan out your conversations before you have them. Number 7, have do not disturb time. For me, this is my entire Monday, is do not disturb. You can call me, you can text me, you can email me. You will not hear from me. I will not answer you on Mondays. But not only that, I have scheduled hours throughout the day where I am on do not disturb. Because again, I need to slow down my relative clock. Number 8, practice not answering. Now this goes right alongside number 7, but we are often slaves to notifications. Those little red lights that pop up in the corners of our apps telling us there's an email, there's a text message, there's a phone call that you missed. There's a tweet or an Instagram post that needs your attention immediately. Practice not answering. Notifications are distractions and they get us off track. Which leads us to number 9, block out distractions. Now, this may go well beyond notifications and answering emails or answering texts and all that kind of stuff. I know that there are certain things that will distract me throughout the day, particularly news about movies or even about sports. And if I get on one of those tangents, I will be long gone very quickly and my hours will be wasted. So block out distractions. And number 10, let things go. Let things go. Don't be afraid to let things drop. The world will not end just because you didn't accomplish this one task. Chances are it'll keep until tomorrow. So let things go. So this week, your homework is going to all be about time management. How are you spending your time thinking? How are you spending your time in conversation? How are you spending your time in action? How are you organizing it? How are you prioritizing it? And how are you scheduling it? Are you being intentional about your time management? That's all for this week. I hope it was intentional. I know it was a little abstract, but I'm telling you, this works. Your time is relative and you can manage it better.